to see poor people strive. They want to keep you down. So, sisters and brothers, we have to be vigilant from now on. We don't have to be lackadaisical as we were before, because during the election, a lot of NNP supporters did not come out and vote because they thought we win already. But the reality is you don't win until the vote is counted. So I'm not sure, I don't think they could last 5 years, because how they're going with that mistake they're making is just comments they're making. And what they're hoping is they go in and take a big loan from Saudi Arabia and hoping that that loan would bail them out. But you don't use loan, sisters and brothers, in that way, because you have to pay it back. He's not saying what the interest rate is, and they're very shady about the details of that loan, but that is what they're hoping that they could get to bail them out with that, and they want to increase the sale of passports. You remember the same people that were talking about passport sale? All of a sudden, well, they can't take away their tongue. They can't talk anymore. They're selling more passports now than ever, and a lot of passports to the Russians. But you're not hearing the critics anymore. But again, sooner or later, that is not sustainable. What is sustainable is to develop our local economy with our agriculture, fishing industry, and other service industry, the tourism industry. That is what would sustain us. So, sisters and brothers, let's be vigilant and not make that same mistake again. So from here on end, right, we have to make sure that everybody knows what these people are doing, because they're doing it in a nice, subtle way. Because recently, you see, they're talking about, I was driving and listening to the Minister of Foreign Affairs that saying that they're not signing any Samoa agreement. They have to study it. But while he was saying that, the document has already signed in Brussels. And they're trying to blame the ambassador. But these agreements take precedence over your local laws. So you don't just sign this international agreement just like that. The Attorney General has to peruse it and inform Cabinet, and Cabinet is the one that approves it before any ambassador could sign. So you have the Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister saying that they have to check it out. They don't know if they're going to sign it. At the same time, they already gave permission for the ambassador to sign it. Sisters and brothers, these are the kind of crooked people that we living with and are managing our country. So right now, enough is enough. We're not going to stick for this nonsense. So you know what you have to do. So good night, St. Mark. Have a good evening. And I want to also invite you to our meeting in Guave tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Dabrio. He told you his lies for so. But sometimes I wonder, them fellas don't know chain the house. He's only bed because he's lie alone they lying. Yeah, they don't see it. Having the news showing you. Let's hear it. Let's hear it for our political leader. I mean, you have the Prime Minister of the country and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. They're right there telling you that they have not read the document yet, that they must first look at it and decide whether or not it will infringe on the rights and the moral standing of the people of the country. And that along with several other Caribbean, Pacific and African states, they have not signed and will not sign until they are satisfied. And while they're telling us that here, at that very moment, the ambassador is out there signing the document. Brother Dabrio told you. Yes. A lady told me she went by Courts, Christmas coming, she looking for a nice bed. They say NDC buy out all because lie alone, they lying. They ain't sitting, they don't buying chair, they ain't buying table, no stove, nothing. But while they're doing that, we have a dear sister who is ready to give us relevant information. She's from the eastern side. She wants to speak to us. All right, so sometimes, you know, in test cricket, depending on how the runs going, sometimes you just have to shift the batting order a little bit. So the captain just informed me that she's shifting up the thing a little bit, so she's going to bring another batsman instead. She's holding back the lady that I was going to bring because 2020, you need good hitters in the end. So Mr. DJ, queue up and get ready. We have a local speaker, someone whom you know. Is a man from the roots, somebody who has grown and who still lives among you. He wants to bring you some relevant information. Colleagues and friends, put your hands together as we invite to the platform
DJ NNP8 I tell them the house solid and the pillar strong, and no volume of hurricane will ever shake this house because we are strong. And I'm saying to you, sisters and brothers, when the new national party is in town, we are the real sheriff right here in St. Mark's. I want to say to you, sisters and brothers, let me start by recognizing Dr. the Honorable Keith Mitchell, political leader of the new national party, Honorable Claris Modest-Curwen, member of Parliament for the constituency of St. Mark, other members on the head table, and you, the beautiful people of St. Mark's, I bring you warm greetings on behalf of the young people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Sisters and brothers, today I stand before you, not just as a young man, but, sisters and brothers, as a voice for the unvoiced, a beacon for the ignored, and a representative of the future of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. We gathered in a time of unprecedented challenges where the dreams and aspirations of our young men and women of this constituency and this beloved country are being crushed under the weight of false promises and political victimization. Sisters and brothers, firstly, I want to start by addressing the blatant victimization at the Ministry of Youth. I say the Ministry of Youth, the victimization that our young people are meted out on a daily basis. Talented individuals, dedicated to the service of this beloved nation are being marginalized simply because of their perceived political affiliation. But sisters and brothers, let me let you know, bring the news for them that no force that they employ will make the young people of this country change the boat and the buses that they are riding on, the bus of the new National Party. This, sisters and brothers, isn't just about the attack on individuals like myself, but I want to say to you, it is an attack and it is also an assault on the very principles of democracy and fairness. Let's talk about unemployment, sisters and brothers. The current government boasts about decreasing unemployment levels. I got good news for them. While they're boasting about decreasing the unemployment level, sisters and brothers, the reality on the ground today in Grenada tells us differently. Sisters and brothers, each week the line of job seekers, youths in particularly, is growing longer and longer, and their hope dimmer and dimmer. The government failure, sisters and brothers, to create sustainable employment for our young people is not just about statistics, but it is a crisis that's shattering the dreams and aspirations of our young people. Sisters and brothers, the betrayal doesn't end there. Remember the promises that was made to the new Imani trainees. I hope they are wrong and they are listening. Remember the promises that was made to the trainees of the new Imani program. Promises of permanent placements as soon as they get in. Tell me, sisters and brothers, how many trainees of this program was given a permanent placement thus far? They will wait for the new National Party to return to office for we to make them permanent again. And this is something that we started years ago. It's not something that we're just going to start when we return. Tell them we started the journey and we're going to return to office to continue this journey, sisters and brothers. Sisters and brothers, the stagnation at the Ministry of Youth is very alarming. Yes, I say very alarming. And if you ask me why, I will say that to you. No new program has been introduced to engage our young people of Grenada, Carrick-on, Petite Martinique. Sisters and brothers, the initiatives that we are seeing today are remnants of the programs of the new National Party while in office. And to add insult to injury, sisters and brothers, the 2023 budget for youth development was mercilessly slashed by this current NDC government, sisters and brothers. How can we progress when our foundation is being eroded, sisters and brothers? How can we go forward by removing a budget from a high point to a low point? But tell them we have good news for them. Very soon, when this government is out of office and we get ready to bring back the sheriff in town, this country will see what is real youth development. Sisters and brothers, let us not forget the CES grant program. You know what CES means? The CES program, which is the talking point. A beacon of hope for our young people, our young entrepreneurs, funded by monies procured by this new National Party government. Yet, sisters and brothers, under this current government mismanagement of this program, especially by the NDC representative from this very parish, the program has failed miserably, sisters and brothers. Ask them how many young people from St. Mark's receive funding under the CES program. Sisters and brothers, if you find 5 young persons from St. Mark's that received funding under the SES program, I want you to come and share it with me. Sisters and brothers, many of our youths in St. Mark's, they are still waiting for the support that they was promised by the last candidate for St. Mark's from the last election. While the friends, sisters and brothers, the friends and the cronies was able to walk away with all the grants because you know what? Good things only good for some people in St. Mark's. But tell them, when NNP is in government, good things are good for every single resident of St. Mark's. Sisters and brothers, up to now, our young people that was rejected, our young people that was promised, our young people that was told, come, you will get a grant. Tell them, sisters and brothers, the SES program came to an end, and all of them are still waiting for the grant that was promised to them. Hold on, sisters and brothers. Our NNP government will soon be back to take care of you. And when you see, sisters and brothers, we return to office, we have to welcome every one of them. Whether they are yellow, whether they are blue, whether they are red, we have to welcome them in the house. And you know the reason why some people can't stay home is because we have love in the house of the new National Party. Sisters and brothers, turning our gaze to the Youth Beast program, a few seconds away from this very venue, right here in St. Mark's, we witness another tale of negligence, neglect, and blatant disrespect for our young people. This center, sisters and brothers, located downstairs the pavilion, the Alston George Park, once is the hub for nurturing our young businessmen and women. Sisters and brothers, I have news for you. This center has since lost its purpose. Ask them, sisters and brothers, how many young people from St. Mark's received a grant, received a small loan under the Youth Beast program since they entered office. 0 from 0 is 0, sisters and brothers. Sisters and brothers, tell them I talk tonight because I sat in this office. I am not talking to you, sisters and brothers, because I want to run my mouth. No. I am talking to you tonight because I have the facts. This is not about gimmicks. We are speaking the facts. And when you call people to vote for you, sisters and brothers, they must vote for you, but you must deliver. If you can deliver, sisters and brothers, then run away. Let the new National Party take care of the affairs of this beautiful country. Sisters and brothers, in closing, just before I take my departure, I want to remind you that Sister Modest will deal with the housing program just now. But I want to share with you, sisters and brothers, this housing issue because it troubles me. This issue, sisters and brothers, is perhaps the most poignant of all, sisters and brothers. The dream of owning an apartment has turned into a nightmare for many young people of St. Mark's. The youths who once saw a glimmer of hope, sisters and brothers, in securing a home for their families, now find themselves in a situation where they can't afford it because they cannot afford the small loan to purchase the house. They are forced, sisters and brothers, to abandon their dreams despite being the very individuals the program was meant for, sisters and brothers. I say to you, sisters and brothers, it's time that we ask, where is the hope? Where is the transformation that was promised to them? It seems we are further away from Hope City in St. Andrews than ever before. Our take-home pay, sisters and brothers, in many cases, leave us with less than nothing. This is unacceptable, and this is not the Grenada we was promised by the NDC. Today, sisters and brothers, as I leave, every young person who are here, I call upon each of you as the youth, as the future of this nation, to stand up against these injustices, to demand accountability, demand transparency, and action from those who was elected to serve us. Sisters and brothers, we cannot and we will never accept the state of affairs no longer in this beautiful island. Enough, sisters and brothers, is enough. Enough is enough. It's time for action, sisters and brothers. And this new National Party team is always ready to step up, step forward, and rectify the wrongs that is done to our young people of St. Mark's and Grenada. Together, sisters and brothers, we will build a better Grenada where every young person can strive, they can succeed, and they can contribute towards this nation's prosperity. And as we go forth, sisters and brothers, remember that there is a better St. Mark's under the leadership of the new National Party. I thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. DJ. I want to congratulate and thank Brother Ryden. Let's clap for him again, man. Give him some claps. Don't be afraid. You go check Dr. Modest after. Anyway, my friends, that was good. He spoke the truth. He told you what was happening. A better Grenada is possible, but only with the new National Party. Friends, we have not been perfect. We did not do everything correct. But you know as well as I do that you were much better off. Life was better for you. Your hopes and your dreams you kept alive. But no, they have all died. As Brother Ryden said, the homes, the houses, as we call them, the Chinese houses, were built for you, the unemployed, the low income. You knew the style of the NNP. They would give it to you, and of course you would have had to pay something over a period of time while you was living in the house. Today they said, go to a financial institution. I don't know which one. I don't know a bank, a credit union, or any financial institution that would give a loan to an unemployed person. So you see, they knew that they're not going to give it to you. That's why they put those conditions. But even if we speak on platform and we stand here or in any other square and talk about it, and you, brothers and sisters, are not prepared to do anything about it, it will not change. And we are not telling you that you must go out there and create war or confusion or get yourself into trouble. We are saying organize, get involved, be part of our NNP group. Make sure you are registered. Register your children. Encourage your neighbor children and others who you know are not registered. And turn out in your numbers and vote. Vote for your future. Vote for your children's future the next time you have an opportunity. At this time, I want to bring to you another speaker. Someone who has been able to move the crowd when she speaks because she has facts. She has grown politically, and she's been looked at as someone in the future that can hold on to the mantle of leadership and probably lead this country into a better place at some time to come. She's from my side of the island, the sunny side from where the sun rises. This is St. Mark's Sunset City. But she's from where the sun rises. Join me, my friends, and put your hands together as we invite Sister Emmeline Pierre to come to the
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to recognize especially the political leader of the New National Party, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Claudius Mitchell. I want to also especially recognize my dear sister and friend, the Honorable Claris Modest-Curwen. I recognize tonight a loyal and dear colleague, Brother Alvin Dabrio, other executive members of the New National Party present with us this evening. Of course, you, the supporters of the New National Party who have braved the weather, and you are here this evening to listen to the voice of the New National Party. Other people of St. Mark's who are here, I welcome you tonight, and I thank you for your love and for your loyalty. We would never forget you. We would never forget you. Brothers and sisters, this evening, in spite of all that Brother Bowler said, it's not going to take you a lot to see that I'm not feeling my best this evening. But I chose to be here with you because I believe that these are crucial times. I believe, brothers and sisters, that this is a time when more than ever this country needs to hear from the representatives of Her Majesty's opposition and a party that has led this country well for many years, the New National Party. Brothers and sisters, I believe we have two serious responsibilities. Responsibility one, to provide hope to the many people of our country who say to you day after day that they feel hopeless. But we also have a responsibility to be the voice of the people. And I say to you tonight, don't allow anyone to intimidate you, to feel that you don't have a right to express your views as citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. You see, there was a time in this country, brothers and sisters, when the mantra was, let the people's voices be heard. There was a time when people marched up and down because they said the people of Grenada have a right to speak. Brothers and sisters, that should not change in 2023, meaning that the people of Grenada still have a voice and they deserve to allow their voices to be heard. And those who promoted this for years must never forget what they promoted. And so I say to you that this New National Party will not stay silent as it relates to expressing the views of the people throughout the length and breadth of this country. Brothers and sisters, but more so, we never in government objected to the people of this country expressing their views openly so. So that is why when people came in front of Parliament with placards in some cases almost obstructing, we never had a problem because we believe that people have a democratic right to express themselves. Brothers and sisters, we never had an issue when the government said that we were going to the National Stadium to celebrate our national independence. We had no objection when people were mobilizing Grenadians to go to another location to celebrate something else, because we respect the voice of people. Suddenly, brothers and sisters, it's very obvious that once you express a different view to that of the government in office, something wrong with you. People are bullied online. People are called all kinds of names. People are threatened for expressing their fundamental right, the right to express themselves. And if you know me, if you know the party that I come from, we support that when you do that respectfully. So that is why we are saying to you tonight, do not forget when you are told that your voices must be heard. And so tonight, brothers and sisters, I want to say to you that there is hope. Even in death, there is hope. And I want to encourage every person in the constituency of St. Mark's, do not lose hope. One of my dear constituents, I'm sure she might be listening, Miss Elsa Corey, and she always say, the longest prayer have an amen. The longest rope have an end. And so, weeping may endure for a night, but we know that joy must come in the morning. So whatever you go through, I say to you tonight, one thing you don't do is to give up hope. Because with God, all things are possible. So tonight, without any light here, Mr. Chair, I want to share a bit with you. And there's been a lot said even tonight. Every speaker made reference to the Samu agreement. You know what troubles me most? I'm going to tell you some other things that troubles me. But what troubles me most is that you listen to some people and they give the impression that people have no rights anymore to be concerned about anything in Grenada. Brothers and sisters, anything that affects Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique, you have a right to be concerned. You have a right to express your concern too. And that is why, yes, you pay your tax too, but apart from that, you're Grenadian. Even if you don't pay tax, you have a right. And that is why we are extremely concerned about this agreement that the government of Grenada has just signed on to. For me, brothers and sisters, the biggest concern that I have about this agreement, I'll tell you, is to listen my Prime Minister say that he never read the agreement. In other words, he has no idea what we have just signed. God have mercy. Thank you, darling. Now, if we are going to be signing agreements, if we are going to be signing documents that can have implication for our country, and for the future of our country, and we are not reading those documents, well, we are in serious trouble. So I'm not going to debate whether he told an untruth, he lied. I'm not going to go there. I am going on the basis that the man said to us, he did not read the document, and I said that is worse than reading it and signing it. Not to read it at all, because it means we have no idea what we signed to. God help us. God help us. Brothers and sisters, this agreement is one that was signed among EU, member states, and members of the ACP where we come in. In very broad terms, this agreement speaks to a number of issues that are very critical and crucial. So it speaks about environmental sustainability. It speaks about climate change. It also speaks about peace and security. Very important issue. It speaks about human rights. And we know that our Constitution protects the human rights of citizens in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. So I don't think anybody is questioning this particular issue. Brothers and sisters, we also know that citizens of this country do have a choice of the kind of lifestyle that they choose to adopt. But we know more than ever that there are consequences for some lifestyles, legal consequences in some cases, and other life-lasting consequences too. We know all of that. And that is why we say it is beyond all of that. But brothers and sisters, I can understand why members of the church community are concerned. I'm also understanding why people who are conservative like myself are also concerned. The Prime Minister did not read that, but I can tell you one line, for example. This agreement commits those who sign to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and that might be okay. But it also says, and other relevant international human rights instruments. And people are asking, what is that? People are asking, what is relevant to me here in Grenada? Is it relevant to somebody in Britain? What is relevant to them? Is it relevant to us here? And so I believe tonight, brothers and sisters, that genuine people want to understand the details before we sign. So when persons address this issue, asking for more consultation before you sign, asking for explanation before you sign, asking for an intelligent discussion on the matter before you sign, don't brush them off. Don't call them names. Because brothers and sisters, they deserve to know. And you know why they deserve to know? These people are concerned when they look and they listen to recent developments. I'm sure most people here in 2022, just the other day, would agree with me that they would have never thought in their lifetime that Cuba would have passed legislation for same-sex marriage. Discussing this today, somebody say, really? Really? Nobody in their lifetime would have thought a country like Cuba would have gone that direction. I heard people with my own ears said that Fidel Castro must be turning up in his grave. Closer to home, brothers and sisters, only recently we heard authorities right in Barbados indicate that they are considering, they are discussing the issue of same-sex marriage. And I'm making this point to say this. Our laws don't provide. But brothers and sisters, in the wink of an eye, things can change. And that is why it's so important for people to express their views on the matter, so nobody could say that they didn't know what the churches of Grenada were thinking. They didn't know what the people of Grenada were thinking. As a matter of fact, it scared me when I heard a minister of government said on the same subject, whatever the people want. And I'm saying, how are we going to determine what the people want? Because there are some countries that went with what the people wanted. And trust me, the next morning they realized most people didn't want it. So I'm saying this is a crucial issue. And people ought not to be attacked for expressing their concerns on such an important issue. As a matter of fact, I believe every Grenadian needs to speak up and to publicly express what is their position on this matter and other related matters. Let us not be taken for granted. Only last week, someone in the government debated with me. And the person said to me, our Grenadian community has become very liberal. People not bothering with these things anymore. So my question is, are we going to be making decisions based on what we think people think, or based on what a few persons think? This is serious matters. When a child is interviewed on matters of sexual orientation, and that child is told, do not tell your parents what you were asked, I am saying let us not trivialize these matters. So while in the wording of a document, it may not speak to a particular subject, it may not call a subject by name, I'm saying let us not trivialize. Let us not ignore the signs that we are seeing. And that is why tonight, I want to strongly recommend to the government that on this subject and related subject, that there needs to be an urgent dialogue with the church community. And I would further recommend the Alliance of Evangelical Churches and the Conference of Churches and other denominations in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. As a matter of fact, I would call on them to state their position more clearly, because people are assuming that when you don't talk, you agree. And we ought not to go that direction. Brothers and sisters, I also want to make the very important point that some explanation must be given. It cannot be taken lightly that today the Prime Minister and the Minister for Foreign Affairs says to us that the agreement has not been signed, that we are considering carefully the content of the document. And yes, it is a very huge document, over 400 pages, I believe. You cannot tell us that you're awaiting the technocrats to advise you on the content of the agreement and that you are going to think long and hard. And while you are telling us that, the news from Britain is telling us that you have already signed, and they are showing us photographs. Brothers and sisters, I'm saying today is the Samu agreement, so brush it and trivialize it. But tomorrow, it can be something even worse. And that is why we must not treat this lightly. And Grenadians deserve an explanation of this. And I don't know if there's any explanation that could justify what just happened. I don't know. Brothers and sisters, I want to move from this subject to the real issues, the direct issues that affect people in St. Mark's, people in St. Patrick, people in St. Andrew, people everywhere in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And I want to start, brothers and sisters, with the fact that the government has reported two things. One, that the unemployment rate has been reduced significantly. The unemployment rate, we are told, has been reduced significantly. And we are told that the economy is growing very well. Brothers and sisters, we are told that the IMF has given a glowing report to Grenada. I told you I don't like to use the word lie. You said that, not me. Brothers and sisters, I am amazed at how people would look at a camera and smile to the audience, telling them that unemployment has dropped and the economy is doing well. Where is your conscience? Because if you travel right around Grenada and you take a trip to Carriacou, I am sure that you would find no one in this country who would agree with the IMF, the government, the ministers of government who says things are better. Except you are living somewhere in the sky. Except you are not on the ground here in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. There is no way that you can agree with any person, living or dead, that says to you, things are better, the economy is doing better, and people are getting more jobs. I say just walk around 10 minutes in Grenville, 5 minutes in Croshoe, 2 minutes in Soubise, and just take a minute around St. Mark's, and you will draw your own conclusion. Brothers and sisters, the number of people who have lost their jobs between the last election and now, and I'm talking about people, not people who have lost their jobs in the private sector. I am talking about people who are working directly with the government. We were keeping a list in our constituency, and in our constituency alone, we were talking about 90 people. And I know for sure this government has not employed 90 people in my constituency since the last election. And that is the point I'm making. You're firing people left, right, and center. Sending these people home, knowing the circumstances. And while you are doing that, you are boasting that the economy is growing, unemployment going down, and you're still boasting about the amount of hundreds of millions you're getting from CBI. Where is the conscience for the people of this country? If CBI is making far more money under this administration than under the past administration, then we expect the reverse to be happening. If you came into office and you found a pregnant treasury, as you said, so all the things are working well for you. You met a pregnant treasury. You're selling more passports, as you say. You're making more money from CBI. The economy growing. Unemployment going down. But people balling more. Something is wrong. The math's not adding up. And that is the problem, brothers and sisters. The maths is not adding up. Except somebody don't know maths. Something is wrong. You see, we try to explain our best to people before the last election. Brother Bola, stop me anytime you're ready. Before the last election, brothers and sisters, we took our time throughout the length and breadth of this country, explaining to the people of this country why stability was important, why it was not the right time to change a government. We took our time to explain to you that the NMP was not a perfect party, but it was the best option that you had. We took our time to tell you that not all that glitters is gold. So that when you get 400 and someone tell you they're going to give you 600, except you have the 600, you're not sure. When someone tell you, okay, you've been working with the government for the last 15 years, by now you should be permanent. As we reach in office, you would be permanent. I said to you, you had a job for the last 15 years. Work with your government to get your permanent. You're not guaranteed. So when the police officers in front of me complained, we say to them, work with us. We're working on things. But some people wanted change, and they wanted change now. They couldn't wait. Brothers and sisters, the most calls I get are from people who voted for the National Democratic Congress. And you know what most people say? Sister Pierre, if we only listen when you all want us. Because you know what you went through in 2008, and people will tell you what you went through in 2008. Well, that was cake compared to what some people are experiencing now. And some people, I'm talking to them about people who are supporters of the NDC, they said to me, Miss Pierre, when you were there, I sure I would get a fortnight on the road. My party is in office, and I'm home with 5 children, not one day work since the last election. Not my words. The words of supporters of the National Democratic Congress in my constituency. Brothers and sisters, people are genuinely concerned. And we are seeing some signs that scares the life out of us about the conscience of people. So when you look at a poor mother with 5 children, and people are quick to say, well, why she make 5 children for? Why she didn't find a husband that could take care of her children? That's the kind of responses you get when you protect and you speak on behalf of people who don't have a voice. But you see, we understood that people also have the right to decide how many children they want to have. And we encourage them to develop themselves. We provide the opportunities and we also give them a hand. So I can tell you the number of people that I know that I met when I came into this, with the number of children they have, and they can look back now and say, I made it. My children got a scholarship. Now they can pay for me to take care of myself. Because my son, I actually know more than one person. Now my son is a doctor. So he can put on the extra room for me. I don't need the government anymore. Brothers and sisters, people in this country made serious progress. Yeah, now my son is a policeman. He can take care of me. Amen. Police officers, you should take a bow for that. We do have police officers who take care of their mommies. And I'm sure that this police officer was employed under the new National Party. So we never promised that every person in Grenada would become rich overnight. But brothers and sisters, we were doing our best, working with the resources that we had. But guess what? Some people, after... I hear somebody arguing there, Pierre. So after the June 2022 election, brothers and sisters, mothers who were depending on the government for transportation assistance, we say we care about education, to send their children to school. As old people would say, braps, they cut it off. Children had to stay home in many cases. So don't tell me about free education when a child cannot pay bus to go to school. So we didn't call it that, but we ensured that this child had an opportunity to get to school. Don't tell me free education when a child comes with the mother to say, look, my child got to Form 5. My husband died in the process, and I've been struggling. I never asked the government for a cent. She's in Form 5 now, but I cannot pay for the CXC subject. Brothers and sisters, under the NNP administration, people like that were supported. Suddenly, brothers and sisters, people are told these things are no longer available. Medication for people who needed support that could not buy basic medication. Brothers and sisters, all these programs were abruptly removed. You cannot care about people and not care about how they survive. I'll give you one example of somebody in my constituency who had a stroke. When she was asked, why you allow the pressure to go so high? This is somebody who lost their job. She said, I cannot afford anymore to buy a monthly supply of medication. She said before this new administration came to office, I was paying $3.58 for one tablet. She said, Miss Pierre, gone to $6.70-something. She said, so now I only buy when I feel sick. You know the danger of that approach to somebody suffering with high blood pressure. And that is why I say to you tonight, I don't blame anybody who fell for the promises. But we have to hold this government accountable to the promises they made to our people. And brothers and sisters, we ought not to lose hope in the process as we do so. So I encourage you, continue to support your MP. Continue to work with her. Because as I said before, there is hope. Every long night must have a morning.
may endure for the night. That's what the lady said. But joy cometh in the morning. Yes, sir, I hear you. After 5 years of weeping. Yes. Yeah, but I realized you were serious. You know, we have to be serious about everything. We have to be serious about what we're signing. We have to be serious about what we're saying. Serious business, no puppy show. You know, as Sister Emlyn spoke, she reminded me of a classroom session where the teacher placed 3 words on the blackboard. And she said to the students, take your time, analyze, think about what you're doing, and then make sentences with these 3 words for me. And the words that she wrote on the blackboard was defense, defeat, and detail. Now the Prime Minister said he doesn't know the details of the document, so he can't speak on it. Then he should not advise that they sign it. And even though the teacher said, take your time and think and make sentences with that, a child at the back of the class put up her hand and said, Miss, I have the answer. She said, what is it? He said, Miss, when the cow jumped over the fence, the feet went before the tail. Something like that is what is happening in government now. They ain't taking the time and go through the details. Anyway, we are going to show them how to detail things. And in this beautiful parish, in this town of Victoria, you have had a stalwart who has championed the cause for the people of this constituency for many years. She has not been perfect, and she has not been able to accomplish every single thing that you expected of her. But I had the pleasure of serving in government along with her, and I know that when it comes to St. Mark's, she wastes no time, and she spares no effort in making sure that St. Mark gets its fair share of the national pie. My friend, she's still in the vineyard today. And she's doing it because of her love for you as a people. So I want you to join with me and put your hands together with good applause as we invite Dr. Claris Modest-Curwen to come.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that warm invite to the podium. Greetings, my brothers and sisters, all the faithful NNPites who are here and who are virtually listening somewhere. All those who got a little fooled and they went and they come back into the house of the NNP, welcome back. We love you still. We know the NDC hid them some tantalizing lies, you know. But the problem is they continue to do it. As Brother Bola said, courts don't have any bed, it's just lie the line. And I want to greet the NDCs who are hurting. I want to greet the NDCs who are hurting and who are seeking an understanding parliamentary representative and a loving party, welcome to the new National Party. I say welcome. Good evening to all those who are listening. Those who are listening on social media, on the various platforms. We are so happy that you are here, and we are happy for those who came. And we are here, we of the opposition and the new National Party. We are here because we believe it's important to speak to you, to share our concerns and what is happening to our people and our nation. So, our political leader, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Claudius Mitchell, is here, and I welcome him. Brother Bola, who is doing an excellent job as a chairman, he's also our general secretary. Welcome, Brother Bola. Sister Emmeline Pierre. Sister Emmeline Pierre, the lady with the cast on her hand. I especially welcome you. And there are so many other members, some of the executive of the new National Party. It is indeed a pleasure. Hey, and my neighbor, Brother Dabbs. Brother Dabbs, well, when Brother Dabbs started with the fire, I said, well, I didn't have to say much. And he's right back on track. Brother Dabbs said, they called the vote wrong. And he let it go. But not this time. When the vote is counted, he will be there. Now, brothers and sisters, you're all aware that we planned this meeting for Thursday gone. But we had to change the date. We had to postpone because Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Claudius Mitchell, he had a duty to perform on that day at the University of the West Indies in Barbados, Caville campus. And our leader did an excellent job. He made us proud. He didn't go and curse nobody in Barbados and tell them they're not Barbadian, saying all kind of wrong thing. He did not go and curse NNP and say wrong things about NNP. It's one set of people that has gone bad talk their own party. How you go in another country and bad talk the party that put you there? Eh? The man did not know about NDC. NDC lay a cushion for you. Come and you just rest yourself on it. And you go and you bad talk them. Bunch we have to afraid that man. But I want to congratulate Dr. Mitchell for the excellent presentation he did in Barbados. That is representation, brothers and sisters. That is how you go abroad and do what you have to do. And I know the doc well prepared. We know that. He prepared, and if he had to sign something, you'd have read it first. But especially if you say he's a lawyer, you have to read it. And you have to guide your cabinet and your parliament who are not lawyers. But you let it sign, and the excuses you didn't read it, I won't say that. Brothers and sisters, so we had to change. And then I realized in the late that Hurricane had a match today. I want to say here that we wish Hurricane well. And I want to say here today that Dr. Mitchell has supported Hurricane many times over the years from his pocket, brothers and sisters. He did not come to cabinet. So he has always had St. Mark in his heart. And I want to thank him for that. Brothers and sisters, you saw Sister Emmeline Pierre with the left hand in a cast. She didn't put that cast there for herself. Sister Emmeline Pierre had surgery on the hand, and I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to explain something. Sister Emmeline Pierre had surgery on her hand the day before the finance committee had to meet. What was the date again? The 16th? Sister Pierre? And no, the committee was supposed to meet on the 17th. So the thing is, she had her surgery because we got a schedule. And the good lady, even though she had problem with the hand, she said she wants a schedule that does not conflict with the meetings of Parliament. And she made her appointment with the doctor. Only to find out they changed the date on us. Because they don't, you know what the Finance Committee meeting does? We all as MPs, people who members of Parliament, who represent constituencies, we sit down and we discuss what the budget is going to be like. So when you don't want the man who knows about statistics to be there, Dr. Kit Mitchell, and you don't want the rest of us who have some experience, you must have a plan that is not so good. Why you don't want us? Why you change it on us so quick? And you send a notice with no documents. So even if you gave 7-day notice and there are no documents, we still could not prepare, brothers and sisters. You know, a few days ago, I was with Sister Pierre in a meeting, and when the speaker, he might be listening to me, when he saw her hand, he said, hey, Miss Pierre, Honorable Pierre, you had a serious thing. She said, yes, I told you all that. And we were asking for a change of date to give me a few days to recover. But we could not have had that, and so we could not represent you in the meeting of the Finance Committee. And that was very sad. So, brothers and sisters, we know that that will continue. We know what we speak here are the facts. The documents can show it. We can bring it to say when we got the notice for the 17th and when we got the change with no documents for the 13th. But brothers and sisters, I want to move into something that is more at home. And I want to talk about the bushing because I hear a lot of complaints. This is what I'm hearing more than anything else about the bushing. You know, we have always known the importance of the bushing. How it helps the people who are unemployed. How it helps pay the water bill and the light bill. How it sends children to school in low time, pays the buses and so helps them in different ways. And how it energizes businesses, especially the local shop. Walk around and ask the local businesses how they're faring and how they used to fare before. And everyone, even the NDC business people will tell you that things really tough. It has gotten hard. But I am asking myself how we get so hard when the economy is supposed to be thriving and so many passports selling more than NNP ever sold before. And we did not sell it. We had a process. We had a process. It wasn't selling a passport. It was indeed a citizenship for people to come and develop the country. But now it seems it's a fast money, brothers and sisters. And these are the people who criticized us for a well-researched CBI and a well-conducted CBI. And today, CBI is a problem for the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Brothers and sisters, the same people who told some of you the bushing is not good, you could get a better job. They never ask your qualification. They never ask if you want to study more. They never ask how they could help you to get a better job. But they said the bushing that NNP giving you is not good. But looking around, the same people that follow them is the same debushing, and I have not seen any better job in St. Mark up to today, neither in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. It's the same debushing. But it's now we know the importance of debushing. We used to have in St. Mark 40 contracts every time the gang going out. 7 persons. Multiply 40 by 7 every fortnight. 280 people went out to get a living, brothers and sisters. And if you think the bushing is not important, you just had to go up in recent weeks and days up Mount Sini. That is the road that if the road break down there by Lassus or going to Guave, that is where we have to pass through Brothers and to get to St. John so we could go to St. George's. They say the bush grows so tall that the bush, both sides of the road, the bush meeting on top, so vehicles could not pass. All the people who passed there, and all you saw it. That has never happened under NNP. That is how important the bushing is, brothers and sisters. It is not a demeaning job. When you don't do it, that is what we're seeing now, is what happens. And if you give a few fortnights, what you see now is what is going to happen when the rain falls. So, brothers and sisters, I don't know what is going to happen for Christmas, but it's going to be bleak, because I hear people saying 3 more fortnights to go. But how we go be 3 when you only have 1 in December and we are at the end of November? I don't know how many will come. But be careful, you have to save a little thing, because you might not get the ham that you plan to have, brothers and sisters. But you know, even with less people, there's a lot of people who don't get 1 fortnight yet. But some walk in and they get more than 1 fortnight. And some get much more than 1. And some entire families walk in 1 time. And these are the things we used to say, spread it out. Let everybody get something. That was the principle of the new National Party. So now, some might be doing well, and they might support it. But we were people for everybody, brothers and sisters. That was the philosophy of the new National Party. So, ban all your belly for the Christmas. I don't know what is going to happen. I said I'd come for a little ham and a little drink, but it looks as though things might be bad. So, brothers and sisters, I want to move to health. We know health is always a concern for everybody. Even when NNP was in office, we had our problems and our difficulties. But I know for sure it never was as it is now in this day and age, brothers and sisters. With a government that say the economy better than what NNP used to have. Well, we used to work magic. Because if we didn't make all this money, and we could have helped and we could have made sure that there was medication in the hospital, then we were doing some kind of magic. Brothers and sisters, we're still hearing about the poor healthcare services which plague this country. We're still hearing they have staff shortage, bad staff shortage. Nurses going, doctors going, and some of them live without a pay because a few months some of them did not get pay, brothers and sisters. Now, if you have a problem with staff and they're going away because other countries want them, shouldn't you be paying them on time to entice them? And if you say you give them $500 as an incentive to stay, but you go back and you take tax on the $500, so work it out, they're getting less. They get, it's not $500 they get in, $500 minus the tax. But government members, when they took the $2,000, when they just came in, they made sure that they didn't have to pay tax on it. So why couldn't they find a way for the nurses to get the $500 without them paying tax? So that might incentivize them, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, I know for a fact that the Minister for Health got an invitation to visit Cuba. I have not seen anything in the news or heard that the minister has gone there. And I mention this because when you do not have the appropriate staffing, some nurses have to do almost a double shift. They come in from work and they're asked to hold on to see if somebody else would come. And if nobody comes, sometimes they do a double shift. Imagine a double shift standing on your feet all day. That is not easy. So I remember asking an official, Does Cuba still have this program where they send nurses and doctors to other countries? And they say yes. So if we are short-staffed, we have had them before, and they have served this country well, then why are we not approaching them? I don't know what keeps the minister busy, because the union leaders say in the year and a half, he has asked for meetings, and they have never had a meeting with him. So if health is your ministry, then, and you're not having meetings with the Ministry of Health staff, then who are you having meetings with? And how will you hear the cries? And how will you resolve the problem if you are not going to meet with them? And of course, how will you deal with this situation if you don't meet with them? And so, we have a situation that could only get worse, my brothers and sisters. We have not heard that they have bought a large quantity of medication. We have not heard what they have bought. But many times when people's families are admitted in the hospital, they have to make sure, you walk with some money, because it's a prescription you get in to go and buy this antibiotic, to go and buy this drip, and every now and then people sending me photos of the medication that they have to buy. And they're asking, Doc, you don't have a little way you could help us? And I'm saying, well, not yet, maybe once or twice you can help an individual. But the program we had where we could have helped persons who needed medical attention, as far as I know, that program does not exist anymore. But there's a social worker at the hospital, go and find out. And they are told that they cannot get that kind of assistance. Brothers and sisters, there are some people who could afford it, and let them pay. I have no problem with that. But the poor will always be with us. How does this NDC government plan to take care of the poor with medical attention when they cannot purchase the medication? It's not in the hospital available, and they just do not know what to do, brothers and sisters. Mental health strike. The acting prime minister, he said, when he was asked about it, he said, well, he don't know about it, he just passed and he see it. But you acting as prime minister, and everything is your responsibility. But he does not know. And at the time, but even if you don't go to them, you go and you ask your permanent secretary, what is going on with these people on strike? If you care. But if you don't care, you walk past, because it is not your business. Brothers and sisters, this government owes it to this nation to at least deliver on one or two of the promises that they made. Brothers and sisters, P.T. Martinique. I always say they talk about Grenada, Carriacou, and P.T. Martinique. But for a long, long, long time, no dentist in P.T. Martinique. So if the P.T. Martinicans cannot jump the boat to go to Carriacou, when the dentist from mainland goes up to Carriacou, then they will not see a dentist. They promise them better health care. They promise them so much more. And we have not seen one thing delivered up till now, brothers and sisters. So somebody tell me, well, that government doing a lot in beautification. So I say, well, what is the beautification? They're painting those walls black and white. I said the money they're paying to paint, I would have preferred to see them buy medication for the people and send a dentist up to P.T. Martinique. But they're very good, and you have to be careful. They're very good at tiffin projects. So the health center that was built under us, they claim it, but we know it's not theirs. The new wing at the General Hospital with all of the facilities, the CT scan, new X-ray, everything, they claim it again. They're good on making claims, but they have yet to show us a big project, a significant project, even a small one. They make a few drains, but that is everyday thing for us. Drains and footpaths. They have not done one project in 1 year and a half, brothers and sisters. And all they give us is promises. Brothers and sisters, I know it's getting late, but I want to briefly move to the housing apartments. You know that one was completed under the NNP. And in St. Mark, we were waiting on Nawasa to put proper water system in, because you cannot put people in 130 units with no significant water supply. And so we were waiting. But that is not the only housing project that the NNP has built in St. Mark's. We had 2 more in Diamond. And the people that saying we don't do nothing, ask them where they staying. He has some that living right there in the housing project. But that is the people that say you don't do nothing. Well, who build the house? What you there in? We don't do nothing. And you there in the house? Well, I don't know. According to somebody as saying that day. According to somebody, I don't know. But that is the whole point. You know, if you go and you snap them in front of the house, the police might pick you up, because they say you can't just go and snap people just so. But take a walk and you're going to see for yourself. So we did 2, and this is the 3rd. But the 2 before was for middle income, teachers, policemen, whoever. This one was for poor people, and Dr. Mitchell and the then Minister for Foreign Affairs, Elvin Nimrod, may God rest his soul, they went to China to negotiate the houses for poor people who could not go to the bank, brothers and sisters, so people with low income and people with no income. So if you had low income, you might pay about 25,000, and the government will work out something where you don't have to go and show all kind of papers to the bank. And for those who had no income but were destitute, some of the apartments were set aside for them. So they take the apartments from the poor people and the people who have no income, and now they're selling it for 80,000. Well, if you're making so much money selling passport and the economy is so good, why don't you take care of the poor and the indigent who cannot take care of themselves? So we move from 25,000 to 80,000, and they say go to the bank. So it's not them, They pass the buck. Go to the bank. So when the bank look at certain documents and they ask you certain questions and the bank turn you down, then you can't say it's NDC, but we know who sent people there, because that was not the plan. But that is the difference in the philosophy of the new National Party and the National Democratic Congress. We believe that while we have to develop the country, and we have to help, and we have to create the enabling environment for those who have the money and could afford it, we also know that we must take care of the poor and the indigent, and we have done it. We have done it so that maybe when the project started, you had persons under the seed who are no longer on the seed. They are policemen, they have professions, because we send them to school. You cannot uplift people by ignoring them and hating them because they're poor. You uplift them by assisting them to educate themselves, and then they will be able to take care of themselves. Brothers and sisters, some people did not even go for the interview because they know they could not meet it. And I'm still begging this government to revisit, to relook, and to have a heart, which is the symbol, and to let these people who are needy get an apartment. Brothers and sisters, welfare, the seed. Somebody sent me a clip in today where our present Prime Minister was saying to the people in a meeting before election that if you're getting under $600 or $650 a month, then you're indigent and you're poor, and that the government of the day should take care of it. Well, I say as soon as the man reached inside, he doing that. But the fastest thing was the $150. But you know what was most painful? And what pains me? I hear them talking about naming certain things after certain people, roads, the playing fields, and so on. And they say, well, One say let me don't call name, but they say one say he don't know who is Alston George, so they got to change the pack name because they don't know who is that. I tell them come in St. Mark, and they're going to see who is Alston George. But there was a next national hero. There is one. The man played cricket and football, and I wouldn't call his name. Cricket and football nationally, and he represented Grenada regionally. And now he represented St. Mark's, of course. He played with Hurricane. And now you don't see that man on the street. He is in a house. He is housebound. And these people took away the support that he was getting, and they leave him with $50. You have no income. Well, better than he take all. And I think by now they must take the $50 too. They take away the money from that man. So you're going to name a street after a hero, and you cannot take care financially of your heroes, then something is wrong, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, we could talk about youths, we could talk about the promises, but we know that you have been here long. And Brother Royden B. Harry was very explicit in the promises and the non-delivery. And you have a lot of them waiting on the promises to get permanent jobs. And now I see them backpedaling. But to the youths, I want to say, hold on. To the elderly, who they take the 150 from, I want you to live long, and I want you to hold on, brothers and sisters. To the young people who lost their jobs for no reason at all, and for the young people who left school and soon will be leaving school again, who have no hope for a job, I say hold on. And as the old people say, time longer than twine. And you will see Anne's belly. And Anne's belly coming very soon. Anne's belly coming very soon. We cannot take much more. And brothers and sisters, as Sister Emmeline Pierre said, we have to talk. We cannot stay quiet. We must talk about these things. All the promises. If these people give us what they promised us, we probably wouldn't have no reason to be on this platform. Brothers and sisters, we love you. We care about you. Good night.
Come in, change your ways. But this moment pass you by and remain the same.
Change your ways. She say time is longer than twine. Yes? We realize it's getting a little late. We started a little bit late, but we made good time. And thank you for your patience. NNP has been successful for so long because of people like you. You had patience, you waited, but most importantly, you believed in the structure and the philosophy of NNP. You had love, and we had unity. And that is what is going to get us back into office. We have to unite with each other. We must show love. We must have compassion for one another. And we must do the political work. Don't take things for granted, Don't take things for granted. Many of the speakers who was on the platform talk about the houses for the people that was low income and the people of no income. Now the government say, go get a loan and come. So some people say, well, boy, those in the diaspora, they say, we have money already. They say, come with it. That is not by chance. That is not by chance. There is a plan behind that. Once you have a house in Grenada, you say you live in Grenada. Then you register in Grenada, and so you vote in Grenada. Careful. Keep looking. Don't do like them and say, we ain't read the document, but we sign. Look at the details. Okay? So let me not waste no more time. I know some people, I see them, and I know they just go to Catholic church, so they have to go to church tomorrow. So we need to bring the man. We need to bring demand. Yeah? You ready? Your man? Well, Bonje, that man no they in that. I know that. Anyway, not me that say. My friends, we're getting to that place where we need to hear the clarion call. We need to hear about the things we need to do. We need to hear how we can rescue this country one more time and bring back the love, bring back the hope, bring back the unity. So put your hands together. Let's welcome Dr. Kid.
I want to thank you. Thank my brother Ebola for his introduction. And of course, my dear sister, your parliamentary representative. Every time I drive coming through in Victoria, I see a thing with on a board with a man face on it. I don't know what that is. But I know the people of St. Mark's knew better. That's why they chose and continue to choose Claris Modest-Curwen. My brother, Dabrio, who's here with us tonight also. You know, tomorrow we're having a big one in St. John's. So come down tomorrow. And of course, our sister, Pierre, with all her hands in the steel cast, she's here with us and speaking to us. That is the commitment of the team of the new National Party. But sisters and brothers, this is very serious times. I worry about my country. And I can tell you why. I'll tell you one of the reasons why I'm so worried about my country. I remember just before the last general election, during the campaign, when the election was announced, and the opposition party put out a team that was going to run for the general elections. My friends, I was shocked because what I realized is this, and I warned the population. You have a team of men and women who are in fact brought forward to you to make them the management of your country. And not one person in that team had one day experience in running any serious activities, my friends. Not one person had any experience in government, from captain down to cook. Sisters and brothers, in a way, we Grenadians have to take some blame, you know. Because they didn't put a gun in our heads. We watch a team of men and women, a lot of them never had a good job in their life. In other words, I have to say some of them were hungry. We watch men and women with no experience in governing any serious department or understanding about government. And we elected them to run their country. I remember saying, if you put them into office, you think they will take care of you first? I remember making that statement, sisters and brothers. And that was not just for campaign. That was a serious statement. Because it means if these people did not help themselves in their lives before they get into government, when you give them the treasury and the management of the country, they will take care of themselves first. Are you surprised that they're doing that? We ought not to have been surprised, sisters and brothers. Check it. A man never had a home in his life. He got into government. He wasn't even elected by the people of the country. But within a couple of months, the government that is in office used its power and gave him $1.7 million to buy a house. This is not a joke, you know. This is serious business. $1.7 million out of the GDP bank that could be used for the farmers, for the fishermen, and small businesses and people around the country, giving them $40,000, $50,000 loan. When they go, they can't qualify, they can't get. But one man, because he become a government representative, not even elected by the people, $1.7 million. My friends, if I was in government and the NMP was in office and I made a decision like this as Minister of Finance, you would have seen the street littered with demonstrations. Littered with demonstrations. I asked, where are they today? Where are the voices? The voices of morality. The voices of conscience. The voices of transparency and accountability. Where are those voices today? And sometimes they pass in, Doc, what you saying? I say, me must talk alone. Me again. But that's worse than that. They have another one, elected this time. The man owe everybody in this country. Bunks check all over the place. They call what they call him? Mr. Bunks check? Or Mr. Bunks in? The government used its powers and gave him over $2 million to pay debts and to continue his business. He could not qualify if he went to Republic Bank or Nova Scotia or any other bank, commercial banks. They used their power to give him over $2 million. And not only that, we had a soft loan scheme in government helping people with loans at very little interest and couple years before you pay anything. They take monies from that again and give the same man that they gave $2 million to. So you get a lot more than $2 million. Where are the voices? Where are the voices? While that is happening in government and a lot more, sisters and brothers, you don't know half of what's going on, you know. My friends, another members of government today ready. Building houses already. They had nothing before. But today, they're building houses already, just a year plus in government. My friends, all this is happening in your name. Many of them are building roads leading to their homes. That is a fact. using the taxpayers' money, sisters and brothers. In other words, when they should be building roads in community to help people, they're building roads through their own particular homes and family property. I say I don't have to call name. You check it out. You have a responsibility, sisters and brothers, to check it out. That's why, friends, let me tell you something. I am talking about the years I've spent, and I'm talking about possible retirement. I'm speaking, but every day is Keith Mitchell name they want. They can't arrest me. They can't keep my name out of their mouths. Because I want to tell them this, as long as I have the breath in my body, they will not stop hearing about what is taking place in this country and what is right for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Look at what is happening in our country. You go to the, I know many of you go to the supermarket. Don't blame the shopkeepers. Don't blame the supermarket owners. Things have gone up. Every day you go to the market, things have gone up. Imagine a time of economic hardship when the NMP was in office. We're looking at ways in which we can help people by reducing taxes. The guys taxing sugar, and water. In other words, putting taxes on things that every single person, my friends, use in the country, my friends. So the poor people in the country, they have no work. The poor people in the country seeing real trouble in this country while they are going on, while these guys are enjoying themselves. They're enjoying themselves to the point of people taking their boyfriend and their girlfriend and traveling with them at taxpayers' expenses. If you want boyfriend and you want girlfriend, pay for them. Pay for them. Why should I work and pay for your nice life and your easy life? They cannot point out the NNP was doing anything like this, because I would not have tolerated it, sisters and brothers. My friends, this is serious times. And that's why the people in St. Mark's, consistently you have stood for what is right. The people in St. Mark's, for the last how many years, there are 2 seats in the country that the NNP has never lost since 1984. You know where the 2 seats are? St. George's Northwest and St. Mark's. And therefore, you know what? I have a home in Northwest and a home in St. Mark's. My friends, representation is serious business. Here you have a representative in St. Mark's that has made sacrifices. My dear sister could have been out there making a lot of money like many other persons as a doctor. But she chose service. She chose sacrifice above making money, sisters and brothers, as a doctor. She chose that because she has a wanting to help our community and to build that community called St. Mark's and the parish of St. Mark's. And that is why, sisters and brothers, and she comes from a whole line of family members and the people of St. Mark's who have continued to make sacrifice and made contribution to the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. I know some cricketers that have spent their years doing a lot of things for this area. Aubrey George, he has gone a long time ago, was a star cricketer. Oswald Clovey, footballer, cricketer, could have easily represented the West Indies if that period they used to give Windward Island players opportunity. And my good friend who is still alive with us, Alston George, they say they don't know who's Alston George. Well, that tell you, people in government, I don't know anybody. They used to call him the tank. And you couldn't pass that man in the back. And he used to do it clinically. One of the most clinical players in football that you'd ever seen. Today, I remember when I returned there in 1984-85, and I saw where both Clovey and Oswald and Alston George was staying. I moved immediately and asked Mr. Blaze in the cabinet that we must give them a piece of land for them to build something and help them to do something for themselves. I remember coming one day I came back home from the States, and I'm coming down the hill as you went coming into Victoria, and I saw Clovey on a pitching gang with all his clothes dirty. I stopped when I saw the gang working, and I said, "What you doing here?" He said, "Well, a girl day walk on the road, a little day walk." A man who played literally represent Windward Leeward and was a star. I watched him beat the best batsman in the Caribbean and in the world, because as you know, I captained the Grenada team and played in Windward Island cricket also. And I said, no, I asked the overseer in the gang, I said, "Listen, how many of you here?" And he said, "What they are?" I said, "Listen, could you take Clovey with us?" Myself and a well-known doctor, Dr. Elliot Maguire, was in that vehicle. We just come to Grenada on holiday. And we took Clovey in his clothes, in that dirty clothes, all around the country on that day. I'll never forget that, and Clovey had never forgotten this. But I see that's where we have treated some of our stars, the people that have made sacrifice for this country, and do not recognize them and give them their due. And that has to stop, sisters and brothers. So maybe if I wasn't back here, Clovey and Heads may never have had a house. And we named the park after Alston George. And they're talking about they want to change it. Let them try to change it. They never see Grenada, Victoria people get bad yet. They never see Victoria people get bad yet. They don't know you all have Vaco in Victoria. They're crazy. They're crazy. And your friends, let me tell you this. This government is preparing to pauperize this country. They came into government and they said they met a pregnant treasury. As I said in Barbados, I ain't know nothing about pregnancy. We men don't know nothing about pregnancy. Only women know about that. They said they met a pregnant treasury. How did they meet a pregnant treasury? While people are getting jobs in the country, the economy growing, Grenadians being respected abroad, regionally and internationally. I just come from Barbados and everybody asking me, "Well, Keith, what happened to all your country? What happened?" I say, people want change. Change, they had dollars and they want change. So they get change. So that's what happened in the country. So my friends, they had a lot of money, over $500 million. And things were happening in the country because we intended to build the country further. And when we went into government in 2013, there was an absolute empty treasury. They were selling assets every month to pay salaries of public servants. That's a fact. My friends, that was happening. But they proceeded. We refused to borrow money and put more debt on the country. by doing what we have to do properly and managing the affairs of the country, we brought the country's debt, which was debt to GDP ratio. I know some of you might not understand the term in itself, but it was 110%. We brought it down to 60%. In other words, making Grenada name one of the best names in the Caribbean in terms of managing the economy. And they forget, some of them in government today forget, they named the Minister of Finance in Grenada, the IMF and the World Bank, as the #1 Minister of Finance in the region. Do you remember that award? I went to Washington to collect the award on behalf of the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. The award was not just to me. It was for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, sisters and brothers. We had a loan over $100 million US possibility from the government of Kuwait. We said no, because we are able to save. We said we are not going to put more debt on the country. We use our savings to start the feeder road projects and to the number of projects in the country, sisters and brothers. Today, sisters and brothers, the government came to Parliament. Your representative was sitting there. The Prime Minister and Minister of Finance supporting that and asking the Parliament to take $100 million US loan from Saudi Arabia. That would increase the debt of the country by over 270 million EC dollars. So I ask a simple question as you would have to ask. What is the interest rate? The man can't see. What is the terms of the loan? The man can't see. How long is the payment? The man can't see. I ask also, what is the limit of time they give you before you start to pay? I don't know. My friends, they still went on and passed. They passed because they have the majority in Parliament. So I'm saying nothing else. Lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, I hear the Minister of Finance went to Saudi Arabia and signed the loan for $100 million US. And after I start talking about it, 2 days later, I hear on different radio stations, they put out a release saying the loan is what? 1.75% interest rate, and they have a 7-year grace period for sisters and brothers. But it's still $100 million US loan. My friends, what we were able to get, the only loans that we were able to take was called under IDA, that under the International Development Agency called IDA under the World Bank. And you know what that loan was? That loan was 0.5% interest rate. And it was 10-year grace. We didn't have to pay nothing for 10 years. And 40 years to repay. That was the loan. The type of loan we were taking, sisters and brothers, if we had an opportunity, and in one case we did. But most of the opportunities that we had were grant money that we were getting. The same loan that they took $100 million US for, the Green Climate Fund had already agreed to provide us grant money because of the amount of work that we were doing on climate change. And you remember that I was chairman of climate change for all the states around the world, small states. And we used that opportunity to promote Grenada. And because of our sterling contribution, they had agreed to give us, they gave us some money for Nawasa, grant money, lots of millions of dollars. They gave us money for sewage, grant money, and we were promised over $100 million US grant money again. The same project, they take the $100 million US for loan to put on the country's debt. We are getting grant money for this. I advise the Prime Minister that go and talk to the Green Climate Fund, and if he needs my help, I would help them to get it because it's my country. Country comes before party, sisters and brothers. But do you think they could listen to me? No, if I want them, if I tell them stand up, they're running. If I tell them run, they're going to stand up. That is the kind of thing that you see. But sisters and brothers, that is the kind of sadness this country is going through. We were able, Prime Minister of Britain, you remember, came to Grenada. Do you remember that? Prime Minister Cameron, James Cameron. He came to Grenada. He came to 2 countries in the Caribbean. You know the 2 countries were? Jamaica and Grenada. And he had discussions with us. And after he discussed with the cabinet, including your representative who was there as minister, he said to me he wanted a one-on-one with me outside of the cabinet meeting. And he asked me straight, tell him what is Grenada's and the Caribbean concern about Britain. And I told him, I gave him a straight answer that Britain did not follow up on some of the promises. And she has let us down. And he said, that's why I'm here, to correct that perception. And friends, before Cameron left Grenada and the Caribbean, he announced over 40 million pounds grant money for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, friends. Grant money again, sisters. You don't have to pay back a cent. And you know what the money, we decide what we're going to do with it? Build a new road from Queen's Park right up to Duquesne. Sorry, sisters and brothers. That the entire Western Main Road, dealing with some of the stones on the hill that cause us damage sometimes when rain falls. We are going to build a lot of seawalls. And the roads, hundreds of jobs. You know what 40 million pounds is? It's over 110 to 15 million EC dollars. Sisters and brothers, grant money. But when we were starting to utilize the money, they placed the money at the Caribbean Development Bank in Barbados. That's where they placed the money. We are getting ready to start, because he came in 2018, and therefore the money started being disbursed in 2019. So, and when you have a loan like this, and you have to choose an international firm, because not our money, not local money. So we put out bids around the globe for the firm. The consultant firm will decide on the engineers and the designs and so on of everything we're going to do. We must pay for that. So we put out that, and you know who won that bid? An Italian firm. Boop! COVID-19 came. Italy closed down completely. Remember Italy was one of the first countries in Europe that closed the entire country down. So the consultants could not come. And in this international bidding process, you can't just choose another one. You have to go all over again. So it took us some time to restart. So we chose, in the final analysis and the second bidding, a consultant firm from Trinidad and Tobago called Best Done. They won. So work started, sisters and brothers, on the project. June 23rd, 2022 came. NDC won the elections. Do you know what the guys did? They went and they fired the consultants. They said they don't want them. And Andy playing engineer now. And he say, within now and Christmas, the work will be finished. My friends, the man don't know A from B about anything. But he's a big engineer. So friends, so the work, they went and interfered with the work. Now, I live in Molyneux area, Happy Hill, so I know the area. The top side of the road, and that's what caused the road to slip, is a lot of gravel. They went and interfered with the gravel, and boom, everything started coming down. So the whole thing became a total disaster. So friends, what has happened? They had to go and beg back the same consulting firm Best Done to come back. You know how much money that would have cost us? Millions of dollars. Because you fire them, you would have to pay them off. And these people work for millions of dollars. You bring them back, you have to bring them with new monies. All that on the backs of the Grenadian people, sisters and brothers. But worse than that was to happen. That same road on the Western Main Road, Britain started having a hard time and they called me and say nothing happening on the project, the Western Main Road. So what they said, I remember I was called by a friend in Barbados who told me they called the government and warned them that this project is in jeopardy and they might take back the money. No, they ain't warning that. But Britain take back over $80 million that was left in that project. So Grenada lost over $80 million because of the National Democratic Congress mismanagement of this country, sisters and brothers. This is not Tim, you know, sisters. These are facts I'm giving you. You could repeat that any day, my friends, because that is exactly what they are. So the country lost that amount of money. You know what they got up on the radio and say? It's because of NMP they lose the money. NMP out of office over a year, you know. What I could tell them is, NMP always brought money to Grenada. NMP never lost money for Grenada. My friends, that is the difference between the National Democratic Congress and the new National Party, sisters and brothers. But my friends, we are laughing stock in the region now. I'm telling you this, people are wondering what the hell going on in this country. What is going on in this place? Sisters and brothers, imagine this. When I was Prime Minister of this country for all these years, I was invited by the Jamaica Labour Party and the Prime Minister then to speak at their convention more than once. I was invited in St. Vincent by James Mitchell and his team to speak at their convention. I was invited by John Compton to be the guest speaker at their convention. My friends, but when I go to those countries, I speak about issues related to people of the region, which include Grenada, St. Vincent, Jamaica, St. Lucia, and others. I will not go in a country and get involved in cussing a political person in St. Lucia. That is not my right. That is when you have respect. That is when you have experience. You have understanding of diplomacy. That is when you understand in international matters, sisters and brothers. But when you put a rookie in government who had gone up in the moon and he can't come down on the earth, he's bigger than everybody already. He behaving like a jefe. What they call it, a jefe? Yes. My friends, you cannot believe this. You go in a country and cussing the opposition leader in another country who was a former prime minister. And here the line he's taking, the man wasn't born in St. Lucia, so he should not be prime minister of St. Lucia. He wasn't born there. The man's mother took him to, when she was pregnant, ready to give birth, they had problems. So she took him to Martinique and just had birth and came back home. The man was living in St. Lucia all years. He was a former prime minister. But he gone there, he don't have a clue about what is taking place. But he talk running his mouth. My friends, sisters and brothers, that is the lack of respect that the man has for his country. My friends, I am saying to you, we are in trouble. We are in trouble. But you know something? No, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that at all. But my friends, this country has one saving grace. You know what that saving grace is? We have the Spirit of the Almighty God, and we have the new National Party, sisters and brothers. We are here so people know that the NNP is there in the slips waiting because they're edging the ball every day, sisters and brothers. So what we want to tell people is simply this: we must mobilize and get ready for delivering and helping our country to be rescued. We have to do this, sisters and brothers, because this government can fall at any time. That's a fact. Because when sometime next year or so, when the economy, and because the CBI program will not be able to function as before, given the problems that it will face, and because they have no plan for economic development in this country, you're going to see a lot of problems facing our land. And anything can happen, sisters and brothers. Brother Bola this evening talked a little bit about registering. Sisters and brothers, don't take this for granted. I am telling you tonight that one of the reasons we lost the last general election is because we took a lot for granted. We did not do our work because we are accustomed winning and we believe we're going to win. So the basic work that we are supposed to do, we did not do it. I always say about life, anytime something happened to you wrong in life, look at yourself first before you look at the man or the other person. So the NNP made mistakes. And as captain, I have to take responsibility like every other member in the party and every other soldiers of the new National Party. So we have to correct this, mean that we have to be vigilant with the voters list. We have to start the work on the voters list, sisters and brothers. Because if they attempt to bring in people from outside to force them on you to make sure they could win an election because they're in the sky every minute, they have no time for Grenadians. It means that they have a plan. I look at the Parliamentary office and I see the budget in the Parliamentary office has it been increased by millions of dollars, and we don't have an election coming. At least we don't know we have an election coming. So the question I ask, what is all that money for? No wonder they didn't want us in the Finance Committee. Because if they came in the Finance Committee, I would have asked some serious questions. What is all this money for? So they refused because they knew I could not come to the Finance Committee on the 13th. They knew that. Because it was public knowledge that I had a certain date that I must keep. So they put it exactly date. And the ignorance of the Prime Minister, when asked about that, he said the opposition leader don't have to be there. Could you imagine this? It's not a constitutional matter that he must be there. It is not always the constitution, it's the practice, the principle, the transparency, the good governance, showing that you want people to be together. You say you're having 50th anniversary celebration, we must unite. These words are just hollow words. How are we going to unite when you're victimizing all our supporters? How are you going to unite when you're preventing the representative of St. Mark's to be part of the Finance Committee meeting and you're saying they don't have to come? How are we going to unite when you're taking the people's money and giving one or two men to build houses and to pay debt? How are we going to unite when you're taking $150 from a poor man who could hardly walk, who might be in bed needing the money? You take it from him and you're flying like a plane all over the place. My friends, I say to you, let us get organized. I know, Sister Claris, we're planning house work, the voters list, and making sure that we dot the I's and we cross the T's. Sisters and brothers, let us not take chances, because I say this, some of us might feel, well, we have been in the vineyard long enough, and therefore we're tired. No. We have to do this. If we're not doing it for ourselves, we got to do it for our children and grandchildren, because their future is at stake, sisters and brothers. And that's why I'm here tonight. You must hear one already. Okay. Hold it there. Listen. Something this government has become very famous for is lies. From day one, lie, and more lie. You remember one of the first address by the present Prime Minister? He said that a Polish ambassador gave the NNP government $450,000 and only $300,000 went in the treasury. You remember that? And he said he had a cabinet conclusion. He said he had a cabinet conclusion that showed that I was chairman of the cabinet, and I know that was a lie. So we asked him, the press asked him, other organization asked him, present the cabinet conclusion. I remember going to Parliament and saying in front of him, because he's on the other side of the house, and I said, I'm waiting for the cabinet conclusion. He put on his head. Up to now, a year and 3/4 gone, almost that gone. We ain't hear a word yet about that cabinet conclusion. What the Calypsonians say, you hear lie, more lie. My friends, worse was to come, Worse was to come. You remember he said that contract work is illegal? Imagine a lawyer, He had contract work all over the world. You remember he said contract work is illegal, and when he get into government, no more contract? Well, more contract than even when NMP, you hear lie? More lie. You remember he said the money was being mistreated and misused and abused by the NNP? You remember that? When he get in there, by the stroke of a pen, all of them getting full-time work. You hear lie? More lie. You remember he said they're giving free education to children. NNP is to make sure that all the persons who cannot pay for the education in any way, anything that they have to pay for, we gave them and supported them, and we said those who can afford must pay, and that's a responsible decision. And we said we gave them monies for bus fare if they had to go from St. Patrick or St. Mark's. Every representative knew that we had that particular project. So no one could have left, say they're going to not go to school because of transport. And we made monies available so they can have lunch, sisters and brothers. They could buy books and things. We took care of the needs of the poor people, sisters and brothers. So he said, giving free education, that's the tuition, Nothing for bus transport. I remember when we lost government in 2008, there had hundreds of students from Grenada attending the St. George's University. Within 2 years, when NDC took over, most of the Grenadian students dropped out because they could not afford the finance to continue at the university. Same thing happened again when we got back into government. More and more students qualify, and we helped all of them who want an education. We are able to put aside resources to help them, sisters and brothers. So he's talking about free education, but nothing there to help them, the poor people to go to school. You hear lie? More lie. That man has repeated several times in Parliament and around the country that there was nothing was done in the country since 1983. You remember that? Nothing was done. This man was about maybe 6 or 7 years in 1984 when we got into government. You remember among the places that we brought electricity to? You remember the telephone system that we brought into this country? You remember the roads all over the place? The man have not done. You hear lie? More lie. But that is what, sisters and brothers, this government, I am saying to you, sisters and brothers, that we as a people must define this government. Anytime you see them, know one thing: more lie and more lie. Because they seem not to understand the truth. Telling lies seems to be an art of this government. And we must continue to define them in that way. Thank you. Sisters and brothers, finally let me make this point. I'm sure you're hearing a lot of talk about NNP, and must have convention, time for convention, you know. And now Kit Mitchell old, time for it to go. Wait. Some of them that say I must go, I know I'm looking better than all of them. A lie? No lie. So my friends, let me tell you this. My only objective in serving in this country at this time is to protect the peace and order of this country. And I want to see the NNP as a continued strong political party, continuing to help the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. When the time comes and I have to give up the leadership of the NNP, I will tell you. And I would make sure that the persons who inherit the new national party are people who will protect the poor people of this country and protect the beautiful name of this country. I am not going to support any and anybody just because they want power. I will support persons who are interested in the development of this country. That is my responsibility, and I will not shift. I will not shift. And no one, anyone come in and tell you, Doc say he'd go in, and Doc say time he won't run again. When I want to tell you that, I go tell you. Let no damn person come and tell you that. Tell them they are not Doc friends to come and tell you that Doc say. Doc will tell you himself. I come in St. Mark's and tell you myself. I go in Sotes and tell you myself. I go into Carriacou and tell you myself. I go into St. Andrews and tell you myself. I go into St. David's and tell you myself. And I go into St. George's and tell you myself. And the first person I have to tell, sisters and brothers, is the people from Northwest St. George's who have given me their votes for almost 40 years to be in the parliament of the country. My friends, therefore, I warn you, listen to no one telling you, Doc say he go in. Doc will go to tell you when he go in. The last thing I want to tell you is this. my friends, only recently I make a little joke. I didn't even know the thing was on some kind of live thing. I talk about I talk about something. They say accusing people of something. Me not accuse nobody or nothing. I didn't call no name. But if the cap fit, lay fit. If the cap fit, lay fit. Because everybody know. Everybody know. If they say that about me, I'm laughing. Because everybody know I like nice ladies, I don't like man. Sisters and brothers, take care of yourself. I love every single one of you.
All right. That is not steel band. Becky say move your foot. Steel band does go boom, 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 boom. Anyway, thank you very much, Dr. Mitchell. I know you had a good time, but we must give thanks and praise. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. One announcement and a prayer before you go. For the people who are interested in going to the public meeting in St. John's in Guelph tomorrow evening, please gather just around by the police station on that street there. And you need to be there between 5 and 5:30, and the transport will pick you up for St. John's. Remember, tomorrow evening between 5 and 5:30, be there because we start at 6. We're starting a bit earlier tomorrow at 6 o'clock in St. John's in front of the Nutmeg Pool. Let us give thanks and praise to the Father for keeping the good weather and for keeping us here. And we want to thank the members of the Royal Grenada Police Service for being here tonight. As I invite Brother Winston Garway to lead us in a closing prayer, please let us reverence the Lord and thank Him for safekeeping.
Good night, everybody. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we are indeed grateful to you for a splendid night of meeting. We thank you, first of all, for sparing our lives and bringing us here safely. We thank you for holding up the rain and allowing us to enjoy this beautiful atmosphere. We thank you for all the speakers. Lord, we have heard so many things. Help us to remember them. Help us to use the information to alleviate or help alleviate the disturbances that some people are going through. But most of all, continue to strengthen us as a people and allow us, oh God, to continue to work together for the development of Grenada, Carriacou, and Peter Martinique. As we go, we ask you to go with us, go before us, and bring us to our home safely. In Jesus' name, amen.
The man known to history as Pol Pot was born with the name Salot Sa in the village of Prexpal in northeastern Cambodia at some time in the second half of the 1920s. Official records place his birth date as being on the 25th of May 1928, but others have suggested a date of birth over 3 years earlier, on the 19th of May 1925. Given the age that we know that Salot began his education, the latter date of 1928 seems more likely. region of mixed Khmer and Chinese ethnicity. Both then, as now, Prexpal was a very small fishing village on the Seine River. And since Salot Pem owned over 20 acres of rice-growing paddies and a small herd of cattle, he was one of the district's most affluent individuals. As such, the man